what does wholeness look like for you currently?
You have all the deep questions, girl, and you keep saying that I'm the one that's deep.
But guys, who answered? Write down everything she said.
Oh my
Write down
Lord.
everything she said. And then spend time on it daily. Because you're going to have to work on it daily. It's like Proverbs, actually. Like the book of Proverbs. It's just like you read it today and you're like, I have to read it again tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to think about that a little
Okay.
bit. What does wholeness look like to me right now? Right now, I would say wholeness is about being present.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, guys, you guys are so deep.
Yeah. It's about being present in the moment, you know. And here's why I say this. So, you know that my handle on Instagram is Time Traveler. And the reason I call myself Time Traveler is because when my mother died, I was journaling in my book, and I wrote something there that said, goodness, I wish I could go back in time. I wish I could just go back to all the good times and have my mother here. This is the week that she's died. We're still going to bury her. And then I thought, okay, do I want to go back? Because if I go back, then I'll still come back to this moment. Have you ever watched movies like that where you can't change you can't change what happened, but you can go back and kind of relive, you know?
'Cause we be on a tough love. Oh, we feeling so high. Don't be afraid of falling, 'cause you know we gon' fly. 'Cause we be on a tough love. Oh, we feeling so high.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's 2023 and we are in partnership with Re-Envision Wholeness, and we bring you education, wisdom, lifestyle, and educational content. I think I did say educational, but I have a very special guest today. Sis Anele is very special to me, and so she is the wisdom. She's bringing in the wisdom aspect of this channel. And so I'm just gonna do an intro of who Anele is. She is a wife, a mom, a sister, a corporate and brand communications manager, a television producer, an author, and Anele was only 19 when she entered One Day Leader. I hope you guys remember her. And you go and search for that content, hey? I think she's full of grace, class, and wisdom. She's like one of those people I go to for like nuggets of wisdom. So welcome, Sissy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kens.
Yes.
Quite a mouthful, but thank you for such a beautiful intro. Warm welcome. Such a pleasure to be here. And the thing with wisdom is that it's everyone pouring into everyone. So what I know is because people have been kind enough to share what they know with me. So growing up, I used to have a pastor who used to say that a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. You know, a foolish man learns from their own mistakes. So I think what you're doing, especially with the wisdom segment, is really powerful, because it's an opportunity for us who are a little bit older now to share our story, our mistakes, so that others don't have to make the same mistakes. And that's how you elevate humanity. That's how you grow the next generation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I want you to tell us a bit about yourself, where you were raised, your background, and your upbringing.
Yeah, so I'm from Durban. I was born and raised there. I lived there for 18 years of my life until I had to come and study at Wits, which is where we met.
Yeah.
So thank goodness for that decision. And yeah, that was quite cool, man. You know, Durban is very laid back.
Okay.
It's a nice place. It's like a village, even though it's a city. I'd say it's one of the slower paced cities, which is generally what it's like when you live on the coast. Something about the ocean
True.
slows time
Yeah,
down
true.
for all of us. I have two sisters and one brother. I grew up with my mom primarily. My parents were divorced, not just separated, divorced. So that's obviously a very big thing in my childhood, because I think you have an idea as a child of how family should look, and there is a desire to, you know, have your dad with you. But then you grow up and you start to kind of appreciate why things are the way that they are. And you start to understand, you know, why your parents had to make the choices to be apart. And sometimes it's in the best interest of the child, but it's also in the best interest of the parents themselves, which is important. So I've been in Johannesburg now for about a decade,
Sure.
over a decade. Yeah, so it's been great. It's been hard, challenging, lots of tears, heartache and drama, but also triumph
Yes.
and
So good.
celebration
So good.
and success and joy, you know, being surprised by joy. C.S. Lewis, exactly.
Right. So good.
Finding God after losing God, finding self after losing self.
Sure.
And I think that's the journey of life, right? You know, we don't have a roadmap. You just have an idea of where you want to go, where your destination is. And because you don't have a roadmap, you're going to make all sorts of detours. Even coming here, I got lost. But the beautiful thing about GPS, which is kind of like our internal GPS as well, is that it will always reroute you.
Sure. So good.
It will always figure out another route to get to where you need to be. So we get super nervous about, you know, I need to make it on time, but we don't know we don't know what time we have here, right? As long as you get there and just allowing that internal compass to reroute you when you take the wrong turns, and trusting that that's good enough.
I think with the rerouting and the map comes in the concept of process. And
Yeah.
I've seen us taking process a lot, like trust the process. And somebody was like, does the process know we're trusting it?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I think another one was like, why doesn't the process just trust me?
Doesn't trust me.
But, you know, we're there, and throughout the process, we're at a place where we are finding ourselves, we're learning, and God guides us. You know, it's not easy, but I like the fact that at the end you said there's triumph and you are surprised by joy, because at the end of the day there's light and there's eternal life.
100%.
And we spoke about joy, and I wanted to know what brings you joy.
Family brings me joy.
Yes,
so
agree.
that's the only dream that I had when I was growing up. So I'm very girly, and not to say that this dream is one that's associated only with girly women. I think it's probably universal for a lot of people. But growing up, all I wanted was to be a family woman, to have children. That was one of my biggest dreams. I had no idea that I would do television or, write or what I would end up doing, right? And I just feel that there's a distinction between who you want to be and what you want to do.
Okay.
What you want to do is very fluid. You can, because everyone is born with a set of talents, and it's not one talent. You could be a singer, you can sing in the church, you have an ability to bring people together, so you can be an organizer, you can create podcasts like you're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what you want to do. But who you want to be is defined by your values. Okay? It's like, I want to be a nurturer.
Okay.
I want to be someone that is a caregiver. And like for me, that's always been what I wanted to do. I'm a nurturer. Sorry, not what I want to do, who I want to be. I want to be a nurturer. I want to be remembered for that. And everything that I do flows from that, right? I want to be a mother. I want to be a wife. Even the content of my writing is to nurture and give. The space that I'm in, communications, I really get to bring people together. I get to use my speaking talents, to serve the organization that I'm in. But who I've wanted to be has always been someone that nurtures the people around them, and that can look different at any given point in time. So it's for me, I don't want to be pigeonholed that, this is what you do. Why are you now deviating from that? But does it still align with who I want to be, with my truth?
Sure, so good. I love that. So who you want to be should inform what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think for me, beyond the nurturing is also just the healing aspect. I've always seen myself as a healer.
Sure.
I'm someone who feels very, very deeply other people's pain. And everything, I feel their pain as if it's my own, even if I don't want to. And that's just how I've been created by God, I think. And it makes me very empathetic. And so for me, healing people, this, Kens, the world is really in need of healing right now. And to become a healer, if you are born a healer, you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to have uncomfortable conversations. But more than anything, you must be willing to confront your own pain. Because how do you help people to work through their stuff, when you haven't done that with yourself? And that's been a very challenging thing for me. Just confronting pain and the fact that always, like you said, like on the other side of pain, it's always something beautiful. And that exists everywhere in nature, when I gave birth to my son as well. And there's a verse to this effect that for a moment there's pain, but what keeps you going is this expectation of joy, of life. So that's the other thing, there's life on the other side of pain. And I think for me, the two things that really resonate with me that I believe myself to stand for is healing and nurturing. And a lot of people shy away from that nowadays because it makes you feel like you're weak. We're living in a culture where everyone is self-preservation. It's about the individual. It's about what I can get. But at the end of the day, who you are is who you are. You can't escape it. And I think there are ways of showing up as a nurturer, showing up as a healer, and doing that in a way that's still that guards you, that doesn't completely drain you of yourself. But be true to yourself. If that's who you are, be that. It's in service of God. It's not in service of people. And it's such a shame that you would not want to embrace that because we live in a culture that doesn't appreciate it.
So it just reminds me of do not conform. Just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean that it's right or doesn't mean it meets the standard. But I wanted to just say that I think I've seen in the way that you live, the healing aspect coming into being and the nurturing aspect coming into being. And when I invited you into come and speak here, it wasn't because of your career or anything. It was because of your values. It was because of the nurturing and healing parts and some of the things that we've discussed. And one of the things we always discuss was you always telling me to open up my heart to love, and that's because it has been so hard for me to do that. And I wanted to know, apart from, there's various issues that have made me come to this point where I'm very closed up. Could be past hurt and all of that. But my one thing was, what other things do you think harden us as women towards relationships?
Okay, so I'm going to answer the question, but for me, everything also starts from who do you want to be?
Okay.
Who do you want to be? And
Sure.
we let people who hurt us create a version of ourselves that we have no interest in being, but you allow yourself to become a prisoner of that person that was created by hurt, by heartache, because obviously there's a chemical reaction that happens in your body when you go through a tragedy, when you lose a parent, when you are disappointed by a partner. Something happens chemically in your brain. You start becoming doubtful. You don't trust. You don't no longer feel beautiful. And then we don't do the work to figure out, okay, Mina, do I want to be someone that is unsure, uncertain about love? Do I want to be someone that is cynical about romance? Do I want to be someone that is cynical about men?
Sure.
Is that who you want to be? Or is this someone else's creation of you?
Sure.
I don't have any interest in being that. I have an interest in being excited about love. I have an interest in being in love, no matter how many times I get hurt. I have an interest in dressing up, right? Dressing up and hugging and kissing and loving and producing children and having warm meals on the stove, trying out new recipes. That's the thing, Mina, that's kept me going, because you sit with yourself and you realize, I don't like this person.
Sure.
I don't like who I am. Who are you? I don't like you. And I want to like you, because the only person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life is me. So I want to create something I like, right? Something I enjoy. And I get it. We feel that, okay, we cannot overcome certain things. And I've lost my mom when I was in just finishing high school. My dad passed away in 2020, and I loved him, even though there's a lot of pain also that was in the relationship. There was also a lot of love, because it's only natural for children to feel that way about their parents, but for me, especially now at this point in my life, I think anyone that sees me, that meets me, needs to expect that how I show up is the person that I want to be. I don't want to feel like, okay, because of all of the things that have happened to me, I have to be a particular person. Now everyone needs to know that, okay, she's been through a lot of things. She carries the weight of the world on her shoulders.
So good.
I just want to be my childlike self, pure, unadulterated, excited. When you're around children, and that's why everyone loves to be around children, because they're not conscious of the world. They're not conscious of tragedy, even if something terrible happens. They don't understand, okay, what are really the implications of my parent losing a job? It doesn't make sense to them. And I think even though obviously we can't live in that bliss, we can't live in that ignorance, right? That blissful ignorance. But what we can do is we can be very intentional about maintaining our childlike happiness and protecting ourselves from unnecessary drama, right? Yeah, don't seek out, because it's in the age of Twitter where people seek out, bad news, the trending topics, pala pala, and keeping up with
bad
the trending news, and what wants to travel more than anything is the bad news. Good news it doesn't sell. It doesn't get the retweets. It doesn't get the hits on the websites. So that's the thing with children as well, is that you'll see how easily they dismiss something that doesn't resonate with them. It's like, this is not for me. I'm not interested. And you can learn so much from them.
Yeah. I love children.
I love children.
I love them.
I love them so much.
You've highlighted so many things, and one of them, I think, from what you've said, is that we harden ourselves by virtue of adopting things that have happened to us, or we accept them as who we are. So we show up as that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay. And then another aspect that I really enjoyed was being childlike. I think that's scripture, basically. That's what the Bible is constantly saying to us. When God is like, count it all joy when you're going through this and
trials
this and that.
And tribulation.
Basically calling us into a place of bliss. Like, why are you counting going through trials and tribulations joy?
Yeah, what's the other thing for me? Because I've experienced a lot of death. So what that has taught me is that tragedy is, the word of God also says, so there's this verse about trouble, like trouble will find you. I just can't remember specifically where it's from. Trouble will find you, okay? You will be minding your own business and it will come knocking on your door to find you. And all you can control is your reaction, and we know this, but we don't practice this, right? And for me, knowing what I know, knowing that at any given moment you can lose a parent, you can lose a child. So what are we going to do? Hey?
Yes.
Are we going to be miserable as Black people? Are we going to be defined by all the terrible things that have happened to us historically, but also in the present? Are we going to hold it as a badge of honor that suffering is something that we own, something that we have claim over? Or are we going to be revolutionary about our joy, about our spiritual, mental, emotional health? Are we going to take that back and stand firm in it, Because, I got tired of myself. I got tired of my sadness, because it's a weight, bruh. Like, it's a weight on your shoulders, and it impacts the people around you. It's transmitted generationally. So every generation of kids that comes up, all they've ever seen is suffering. And the reason why I say that is, like my parents, like I said, are divorced. And I hardly ever used to see my mother laughing and smiling, because there was so much sadness in her. Okay, I need a moment. Yeah, there was so much sorrow, and that's all you ever see. So what we need to do, that is revolutionary, that is different, that is transcending, that is pushing the boundary, is to show our children what joy looks like, what happiness looks like, what health looks like. Black people are so good at suffering. We are so good at suffering. And it's not because we love it, it's because that's all we know. That's all you ever see. And it's like you see it in now, even in the townships. We know how to live with lack, you know, whether it's groceries or whether it's love, whether it's peace. We know how to live with a lack of peace in the home.
This is so heavy. It's because it touches on so many so many aspects, and I think you're bringing it home, like you're taking it into where source of happiness, source of joy, source of love, source of belonging comes from, a source of excellence. And when you speak of that, I think I went back to why we're so used to lack, we're so used to bad quality, we're so used to bad quality service. For example, I don't complain if my the person who does my hair is 3 hours late. Because I'm so used to bad service. But somebody else in another community can speak up and say, actually, this is bad, this is my time, it's my money, and you should be here on time. And I think all of those things, like you said, stem from us having normalized or are okay with not transcending, are okay with not bringing certain values and rules because we've accepted it. You know, we've accepted that, no, you know what, we blackness is lack, it's suffering.
It's because the people that we love and the people that we look up to accepted it. Okay, and then they set the bar for what you can aspire to,
so good.
for what you can hope for yourself. Okay, your grandmother is in an unhealthy home. There's no peace in the home. Your grandfather comes home whenever he wants to. She is married on paper, but she's a single mom, okay? And then your mother goes through the same thing. Like, this is my story. My grandmother was married, but my grandfather had another wife in the Eastern Cape, and she didn't know this until at some point when it comes out that, oh, okay, this man came here to work. We have now a relationship, but there was actually another family somewhere else. And then what happens? That dysfunctionality, no one is evangelizing anyone.
Yes, true.
Everyone is saying what they want their children to do. But the real message is the life here in the home and what everyone is seeing. And we know this. Children learn from watching. Not they do what you do, not what you say, right? And then you have the next generation of men and women who are equally dysfunctional. Not because they weren't told the right thing, but because they never saw it being lived out. And how can you believe that, oh, okay, I'm worth more, I can do more, when you were never shown that by the people that you respect and love the most, and you spend the most time with these people, from the time that you are born, that's all you know. And then you find that 5-6 generations down the line, there's still dysfunctionality. So you need the revolutionaries, like the rule breakers. And for me, revolutionary is not right? It's not something that happens there far away. It starts with you.
So good.
It's you have to, there needs to be upheaval within yourself, because you need to turn everything on its head that you thought you knew, that you thought you believed. You need to, like, this idea that, we have to be radical outside of the home, outside of your friendship group, outside of your romantic relationships. That's where the radicalism needs to happen, because there are things that have been passed down. There are self-limiting beliefs that have been passed down that you need to break free from. That's revolution. Because revolution is regime change. Okay? What is the regime? The regime is your upbringing. The regime is the childhood beliefs that you've been taught. That's the regime. The regime is not out there. It's here.
Sure.
And that's revolution.
So good. When we started the YouTube channel, I was like, it's easy to bring in Oprah. It's an example.
Yeah.
It's easy to bring in Oprah, but I was like, man, Oprah is so far from me. I don't know Oprah.
We don't know Oprah.
I've never seen. I don't know what Oprah does when there's no bread.
Exactly.
I don't know what Oprah does when she wakes up. And I was like, what I want is people living, and I'm gonna say ordinary lives because that's what it looks like. Although they're doing extraordinary things, and that just speaks into the work that starts within. It starts within our homes. It starts within our small circles. It starts within yourself, you working on yourself. And I just like that when you speak about regime changing, it's about, we always think changing the world starts by changing the outside and not us just living well. And I can speak now that just from you being here, or just from all the ladies I've interacted with and all the guys I've interacted with who are full of character and integrity and true excellence. There's a certain kind of excellence that is being pushed out there that is they're trying to link it to blackness, you know, and and I'm saying they're trying because there's a better way of doing it. And I wanted, the one thing we also spoke about consistently was, I think you're very passionate about Black people. You're very passionate about Black culture and Black communities. And I wanted you to speak into what you think Black excellence looks like.
Yeah. So I'm passionate about people.
Yes. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Yeah.
Don't be sorry. I'm passionate about people, and I have to make that point because I don't want to make it about only Black people.
Okay.
That's something I used to believe, and
Sure.
I do not believe that.
Okay.
It sounds very kumbaya, but I'm gonna stand on that. That's what I believe,
Okay.
because it's just because we are skin folk, okay, doesn't mean we are kinfolk. Doesn't mean we are kin. Doesn't mean we can befriend on the grounds of skin.
Okay.
And these are not my words, okay? This is a quote. And I believe that because there are, so this is where I'm getting at what you're saying, that there's a better way of doing it. There is a version of success, right, that is portrayed and that maybe can be linked to Black excellence. And if that doesn't resonate with me, what does that make me? Does it make me not Black?
No.
I am as Black as the next person.
Yes.
But what we just need to give people freedom to be who they want to be. I don't want to inherit what is said to be Blackness, and then I must exhibit those things to qualify, to have something to say about Black people. And if you don't do this, then you can't speak for Black people.
Sure.
I'm not interested in that. For me, Black excellence is competence.
Okay.
Are you good at what you do? Okay? And how can we become good at what we do? Because that's important. That's the issue. That's the challenge that we're facing. We're facing service delivery issues. We are facing, potholes in the streets, load shedding, and all these issues for whatever reason. And the question is, are we competent? Can we prioritize competence? We know that there's a lot of competent people. There's an abundance of competent people. So how do we give those people a chance to serve the country, to serve our communities, and to constantly want to better ourselves? And that's something that I've struggled with as well, because the road to competence is an uncomfortable one, because you first have to be bad at something to be good at it. And a lot of us want to like fast forward to the time where we're just
Ish.
doing so well,
Yeah.
we are thriving,
Yeah.
we are doing amazing things, and also because we are at a back foot. Some people are the first in their families to graduate, first in their families to go abroad. And what that means is that you don't have family members that you can draw, knowledge from, who can help you when you face something that's difficult. So when you face something difficult, you only have yourself, right? And the people around you who may or may not help you. But for me, Black excellence is just us not waiting until we have it all figured out to do things. I love what you're doing here. Do the thing that you love imperfectly until you can do it perfectly. And understanding that it's about building competence. It's about building competence. And when you do that, you're going to face yourself and you're going to humiliate yourself. Because it's not always going to be easy. You're going to make mistakes. But that's okay. And that's the other thing, right? With us as Black people, you can either be excellent or you can be a loser. We don't allow for like a middle ground that, okay, this person is building themselves. Like everyone wants to be a billionaire, or you're a loser. If you're in the middle, if you have a corporate job, a 9 to 5, 9 to 5s are under fire now. They're not good enough. It's not Black excellence. Even though you're competent and you're doing something that is moving society forward, because everything that is done to move society forward, some of those things are not going to be hyper visible. They're not going to be things that are celebrated on 702 or even on podcasts like this. The people that make sure that the sewers are working, are running. The people that change the lights on the streets, the electricians, some of those things, and it's competence and it's excellence, but it's taken for granted and it's not visible. And so therefore you're a loser. And Black excellence is what? It's materialism. It's the things that you own. It's the things that you have. It's not what you are doing, the competency you're bringing to the table. And that's something that we all need to change.
You challenged me so much. I think we had a conversation once and you said, we don't know the names of the people who built the highways.
Yeah.
We don't know them. But all of us are aiming towards wanting to be, I'm going to use Oprah,
Yeah.
or aiming to be Patrice Motsepe, that kind of thing.
You don't know the person that made your glasses, that enable you to have such ease in the world. You can drive, you can write, you can read.
I can see.
And that's Black excellence.
Yeah.
The person that braided your hair, there's skill, there's technique. So why can we not make it broader and celebrate what is deemed as little, which it isn't, Black excellence is building a functioning society, a community that works.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. I'm worried about time, and I'm gonna say it here. Worried about time, and I'm hoping Anele will come through because I think there's so many things
Scratch
that we
the
yet
surface.
to discuss.
Yeah.
But I can't let her leave without answering this one question.
Okay.
Ne, what does wholeness look like for you currently?
You have all the deep questions, girl, and you keep saying that I'm the one that's deep.
But guys, who answered? Write down everything she said.
Oh my
Write down
Lord.
everything she said. And then spend time on it daily. Because you're going to have to work on it daily. It's like Proverbs, actually. Like the book of Proverbs. It's just like you read it today and you're like, I have to read it again tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to think about that a little bit.
Okay.
What does wholeness look like to me right now? Right now, I would say wholeness is about being present.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, guys, you guys are so deep.
Yeah. It's about being present in the moment, you know. And here's why I say this. So, you know that my handle on Instagram is Time Traveler. And the reason I call myself Time Traveler is because when my mother died, I was journaling in my book, and I wrote something there that said, goodness, I wish I could go back in time. I wish I could just go back to all the good times and have my mother here. This is the week that she's died. We're still going to bury her. And then I thought, okay, do I want to go back? Because if I go back, then I'll still come back to this moment. Have you ever watched movies like that where you can't change you can't change what happened, but you can go back and kind of relive, you know? And then I thought, okay, maybe all I want is to move 10 years from now where this doesn't hurt anymore and I've healed and all of that. And so I started to grapple with this idea of time travel. Like, should I go back in time? If I could, would I go into the future? And what time travel became then for me was embracing the present time, okay? And understanding that we don't need a time traveling machine to go back in time. You don't need a time traveling machine to fast forward into the future, because guess what? You will go to the future. And this body is the time machine. It will get you to the future. But you want a shortcut. You want joy that you didn't earn. You want peace that you didn't earn. You want healing that you didn't earn. So for me, wholeness is just embracing the body that you're in and the place that you're in. Don't long for the past. Don't long for the future. This present time is the time, that God has given you, and He has equipped you with the tools to succeed and to thrive. So, yeah.
Guys, I don't want to ruin anything anymore. I think I'm gonna end it here. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. So we work with what we have at the moment and do it to the best of our ability. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you so much,
subscribe.
Anele, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Love having you.
Thank you for this
Thank
amazing
you.
platform.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bye.